Ladies and gentlemen, third time's the charm. Unit 3, periodic table. MoNaCo here.
And Mills.
And our special guest.
Reimer.
We're talking about STP on page 17 in our pack today. And we're not talking about the fuel additive in the car. We're not talking about the band. We're talking about standard temperature and pressure, as well as the elements that are solids, liquids, and gases.
Sure. We just need some basic conditions to compare one thing to another so that everything is, control our variables, if you will.
Yeah. So STP, there's a reference table for us that tells us what standard pressure is, 101.3 kPa. It's a kilopascal. It's a unit of pressure, which is the same as 1 atmosphere. And the standard temperature is 0 degrees Celsius, so freezing. And we're getting to that time of year, so we might actually experience STP outside on our walk to school.
Absolutely.
That's reported in both Kelvin and degrees Celsius. So here's our definition of pressure.
Sure. So pressure is definitely the amount of force exerted per unit area. An example, like air pressure. A high pressure system is moving in next week.
Anything to add about pressure, Ms. Reimer?
Let's see. No, you guys got it covered.
Are you feeling the pressure?
I am very much
What
feeling
units
the
of pressure do you use in earth science?
Earth science, we deal with atmospheres if we are calculating
Atmospheres.
pressures.
Yeah, so pascals is just a different unit that measures the same dang thing.
Yep, and we also deal with millibars.
Millibars. Again, different units for the same thing, which is a
Absolutely.
measurement of force per unit
Right.
area.
And we did unit conversion in week 1. We can just switch from unit to unit.
Yeah.
It's really no big deal. So let's do temperature now.
Temperature. Average kinetic energy. It's a measurement of it. And so we're talking about high temperature the next week in 6 degrees Celsius. So that's the average kinetic energy of the air. Is there a better definition from earth science for temperature that you use? Because this is our chemistry and physics definition.
We actually, in earth science, use the same kind of idea. It's how much those molecules are moving around.
So
Right,
That's
so
the kinetic energy.
That's the kinetic energy part, yeah. It's right there
Right.
for the atoms move, they bump into the thermometer rises up, and then we read a number as a temperature.
Right. And we're going to go really in depth in this
Later
on. Yeah.
So, elements that are gaseous and characteristics of a gas. Elements that are gas, there's a few of them, not a ton. Hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. Mostly in the top right-hand corner of the periodic table. They are all non-metals. If you were to draw a particle diagram of these, we did this a while back, the atoms are not touching. Gases fill the container that they are held within, and they take the shape of the container, and they move in what we consider to be random straight line particle movement for what is called an ideal gas, which we'll get into more in later physical behavior of matter.
And liquids, there's even less of those. We got 2 liquids, mercury and bromine, right? And one's a metal, one's a non-metal.
Right.
And again, when we draw our particle diagram, the atoms are going to be touching, but they will have a definite volume that will take up the shape of the container. So remember, we had them touching, but they had to touch either side of the walls on the bottom of our little
Yeah, if we were to do a
square.
particle diagram. But you just need to know that there's only 2 elements that are liquids, a handful that are gases, because the rest must be solids. This is the rest of the elements, which is the vast majority of them. And we're not even going to list them all because, cripes, there's too many.
Right.
Probably
You
like
got a
100.
reference table to list them.
There's like 100 that are solid, so we're not going to mess with them.
Right.
Those atoms are going to be touching in a crystalline, rigid matrix, so they're kind of like army soldiers, kind of shoulder to shoulder, row to row. Boom,
Yep.
boom,
They have a definite volume and a definite shape.
That shape might be irregular, but it is a definite shape.
Yeah,
You can
definite
find
as in
it.
it's fixed.
Yeah, you could also make a solid a regular shape, like a cube or a rectangle or a block.
Right.
Or whatever.
Those were easier to measure when we did the density lab.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so you need to know where the solids, liquids, and gases are on the periodic table. So get your periodic table out,
Yeah,
circle them,
Yep,
make
there's
a key,
color-
and you're good to
there's
go.
There's a coloring activity like page 19 and 18. So
Something like that, for
we'll do
sure.
that.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.